Blessed be. I am Elder Eliza from the Church of Light. I wanted to explain to you what our fifth covenant was, and that would be the right to sex ed. Sexual education is the responsibility of the community and the responsibility of the church. Children as young as 3 or 4 years old can start learning about their bodies. Now, I'm not talking about explaining to children exactly how babies are created and how they're brought into this world. That's not what I'm talking about. I heard a story some years ago about a preschool teacher. And one of her 4-year-old students would come up to her day and day and day again and tell her that her uncle kept licking her cookie. And every day she would tell her teacher, "My uncle likes to lick my cookie. My uncle licks my cookie." What this teacher didn't understand is that cookie was the word for this young child's vagina. She was trying to tell her teacher that she was being sexually abused. And for this reason, we believe that sex education needs to start as soon as a child can start talking, and as soon as they can start identifying their own body parts. Don't use words like cookie to identify a girl's vagina. She can say vagina, and a young boy can say penis. By young children knowing these correct terms for their genitalia, it allows them to be able to express to a safe adult when they are being abused. As children get older, before they reach puberty, they need to know what puberty is and what happens through puberty. Young boys need to understand what erections are, because they will happen at the most inopportune times. Good Lord, if you ever talked to a man about what he went through during puberty, especially during his young teenage years in school, young boys, before they reach puberty, need to be aware of this. And on the other side of that, young girls need to be aware of what their period will be well before they reach the age of having it. And please do not think that your child will be 15 to 17 before they have a period, because some children get them as young as 9. The next thing is that as they grow older and they get into puberty, boys need to understand what periods are and how they work. They also need to understand that there's more than 2 holes down there. Girls need to understand how boys work. And as puberty goes on, this is the education that they get. They also need to understand how babies are made. Do not expect a 12 or 13-year-old going through puberty and dealing with those hormones. Teenagers have hormones, and they will act on them if they are not taught otherwise. So as children are going into puberty, they need to be explained about what those hormones do to their body. And they also need to be explained why it is best that they wait before they make the choice to have sex for the first time. Abstinence, just telling them abstinence, is not an explanation. They need to be taught about sexual diseases or sexually transmitted infections. They need to be taught about pregnancy and how it happens. You want to stop young teenagers or teenagers in general from seeking out abortions or hiding pregnancies and end up killing their babies. You know how you do it? Through information. They need to know exactly what happens when you have sex and how babies are formed, how babies come into this world. I'll be honest, you want to know the best way to keep a teenager from having a baby or even having sex? Tell them the truth. Tell them exactly how babies are created and then what the next 9 months of their life will be like. Tell them what it is truly like to experience a pregnancy and what it does to your body. Explain to them exactly how a baby comes into this world. How a hole like this has to expand to accommodate a baby's head. That in and of itself may scare a teenager to keep them from having sex. Don't scare them with misinformation. Scare them with the truth. Be honest with your children. And this is, in fact, not just the responsibility of the parents, not just the responsibility of the schools, but the responsibility of your church as well. Your community needs to inform children with facts, with true information on how to keep pregnancy from happening. If, in fact, they're going to engage in sexual interaction with another person, male or female, same gender or opposite gender, or somebody who is gender divergent, there needs to be information. Now, as kids become teenagers and are starting to explore their sexuality, this is where LGBTQ sex education comes into it. As they are finding that they are attracted to one gender or another gender or both genders, as they are learning about what sexual attraction is and romantic attraction, they need to know that it's okay. It's okay to be gay. It's okay to be bisexual. It's okay to be straight. It's okay to be transgender. It's okay to be cisgender. They need to know that what they're feeling is normal. Please, for God's sakes, do not shame your children because of the way that they feel. They are not copies of you. They are not copies of their parents. They are our legacy. They are not our copies. Children are meant to be protected and carry on what we taught them, but they are not our copies. They are their own person, and it is up to you, their parents, and the leaders of your church and your church community to help these children grow into who they're supposed to be. Help them find their individualism. Help them to know that nothing about them is wrong. That it's okay to be gay. It's okay to be trans. It's okay to be different. And it is our responsibility as parents, as community members, and leaders of our church to let these kids know that it's okay. I'm Elder Eliza with the Church of Light. Blessed be, and take care of your kids.